Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to the continuation of Bryar Rose. I rush out from a cluster of trees and pause, my breath coming in rough gasps. I've got shifted strength and stamina, but after today, I'm wondering if I need to get back into blades. Before me, there stands a small clearing. The temple's nestled the centre. It's a round structure, about 20 feet high and just as wide. All the columns are cracked. At one time, the temple's roof must have been a white dome. It's smashed in now, like an egg that got hit with a spoon. Low scrub grass surrounds the ruin on all sides. A few spindly olive trees stand around it, reminding me of lonely sentinels. More laughter sounds. This time, it's definitely coming from inside the temple. Child mean. She's here. With slow steps, I march down the hill and into the temple itself. The moment I move inside, I notice the smooth stone walls appear to be breathing. This typically happens before I have a night vision. Am I dreaming while I'm awake now? The place is almost bare. There were markings on the walls that were probably paintings at some point, but they're faded beyond recognition now. Or rather, I might be able to figure them out if I really looked closely, but I can only focus on the centre of the temple floor. The girl is standing there. The child is a mess of knobbly knees and bony arms that are all wrapped up in a Roman toga. She appears to be about 6 years old, but that's not what's most remarkable about her. No, that would be her golden skin, silver wings, and long red hair that glistens like rubies. Within my soul, my wolf pauses, tilting her head. She's as curious as I am. How can that be you? I don't know. For some reason, I can only stare at the girl. Ask her, urges my wolf. Go on. I take a half step closer. Who are you? A memory, says the child. Her voice is like tiny bells ringing. I'm a wish that never was. She gestures to the box under my arm. And it's all because of that bad thing. I lift the Codex Mechanica. Do you mean this? That's horrible. Looking up, she starts clapping wildly. Oh, look! He's here, too. The interior of the temple darkens. For a moment, I worry that the shadowing have returned, but I dismiss the idea. Those creatures drip darkness down the walls in a way that reminds me of paint. Whatever is causing this shadow is big enough to block out the sun. What could do that? A moment later, I have my answer. A black-scaled dragon dips its head through the break in the roof. Running forward, my reflex is to protect the little girl from the dragon. However, the child's reaction is the exact opposite. She bobs on her tiptoes and reaches for the dragon's head, as if the creature were a long-lost friend. Once the dragon is close enough, the girl wraps around its muzzle. Since the dragon is so huge, the child can only grasp a small part of the chin. Colonel Mallory, I ask. The dragon version of Colonel Mallory doesn't seem to hear me. Instead, it focuses on the child. What did I tell you, sugar? Asked the dragon. You can't go running off from me like that. All the air seems to get sucked from my lungs. The walls of the temple start bowing out at a faster pace. It's like the very chamber is breathing more quickly. There's no mistaking that dragon. It's Colonel Mallory. The girl pats the massive dragon scales with a tiny hand. I just wanted to play. Outside and play. But you can't. Now can you, honey? Do you remember why? The child shivers. The man in the mask. He can't find me. The room rattles on its foundations. Bits of stone tumble from the open ceiling. The girl and the dragon disappear. A familiar voice echoes around me. Bry, wake up. That's Knox. It takes an effort, but somehow I open my eyes. Knox heals beside me. I'm inside the temple, curled up on the floor. The Codex Mechanica rests on the ground beside me. What happened? I ask. You weren't answering your cell, says Knox. His skin looks extra pale. A thin sheen of sweat covers his features. I got worried. I ran here. Blinking hard, I check out the room. It looks just as it did a moment ago. All round walls and faded paint. My body feels different, though. Every muscle aches as if I ran a marathon. Huh? Maybe I did. Yeah, says Knox. I found you here, passed out on the floor. And did you see anyone else along the way? Some small part of me hopes Knox saw a little girl. Or at least, he saw Colonel Mallory in dragon form. There was just Alec and Ella behind me, answers Knox. What's this all about, Bry? It takes some doing, but I forced myself to sit up. I walked in here and thought I saw someone, actually. But maybe it's the stress of everything. So strange dreams I get again. Knox eyes me carefully. The ones you tell me about. Those dreams with a little girl. They always start off with a little girl, but they end with a shadowing in the void. This time it was a little different. When I walked into the temple, I saw, at that moment, Ella and Alex step inside the temple, panting for breath. Evidently, they ran here, too. All of a sudden, the pair start cheering their heads off. You did it, cries Ella. I knew you would. I squinted her. What do you mean? Alec points behind me. The fountain, he says. You found it. My eyes stretch so wide, I'm surprised they don't fall out of my head. I did? Knox nods. When I came in, I saw you passed out and rushed over to you. I didn't really care about anything else. He glances behind me. But yeah, Elle and Alec are right. That sure looks like part of a geyser. Little by little, I crane my neck to look at whatever is hidden behind my back. Sure enough, I find a large cone-shaped rock waiting in the centre of the temple floor, right at the spot where the girl had just stood. I rise to stand on shaky legs. It looks just like the geyser from my trip in the past. The sides are streaked in red, gold, and silver. Every cell in my body seems to freeze. This is it. At last. The fountain. You're right, I say slowly. It's here. This is everything I've been looking for. I run my hand over the mottled stone. Layers of magic have coloured its surface. This is definitely the fountain. I should be cheering for joy, same as Ella and Alec. Only, I can only muster one sensation. This feels wrong. All of it. And to top it off, Knox is looking sicker than ever. His muscle tone is fading by the second. Now his shirt hangs loose on his newly bony frame. The ice blue of his eyes has faded to an almost grey. No question about it. This is killing him. That's the worst part of it all. Something is wrong. I found the fountain of magic, but it's off somehow. Perhaps Jude made a copy to screw with people? It seems like something he would do. I pull the partly assembled Codex Mechanica out from under my arm and hold it before me. Is this truly the fountain of magic, I ask? The innards of the machine whir as the discs spin and spell out a reply. Knox leans in for a better look. Every time the discs pause, Knox reads the glyph that appears on the box's lid. The fountain of magic. In Julius Caesar's home. Inside the ruined temple. His eyes locks with mine. Why did you ask that, Bry? I shiver. Something about this feels off. I thought this might be a decoy. Knox gives me one of his chin nods. I get you. The whole thing is wrong. Alec throws up his hands in frustration. I can't believe this. The two of you face down tea, got here, faced down the shadowing, found the fountain of magic. He focuses on Knox. This is everything we wanted. You and I. Alec motions between himself and Knox. We can't get married without this. Ella steps forward. Her blue eyes never looked wider with wonder. I thought you didn't want to settle down. Alec shoots her, the quickest of glances. Not today, but a blush closes his cheek. My inner wolf snaps to attention. Alec would like to make Ella his mate, she says in my head. They should have a ceremony in cubs. I roll my eyes, but that would look pretty out of place to everyone else in the temple. My wolf and cubs, it's a favourite topic today. Most guys don't want to settle down at 18, explains Knox, but Alec and I, we've always been different. We want a home and a family. Time was, I thought it was 'cause you always want what you can't have. But we're wardens. Maybe the magic pulls us towards this as well. He gives Alec a sideways look. Even so, that doesn't mean we should jump into trouble. Tell that to my parents, says Alec. I wouldn't be surprised if they cast some kind of spell that alerted them if I got within 2 yards of the fountain of magic. They'll freak if they know I found it and walked away. They want an heir yesterday. He gives Ella another nanosecond long glance. Now that I have to get married today or anything, no, not that I have to do that. People have complex issues that need to get worked out first. Knox and I share a look. We've talked about how obvious it is that Ella and Alec are made for each other. We've also discussed the total bummer about Ella's stepfamily. Love is a kind of magic. The way Ella's magically hidden has certain limits. If Ella kisses someone she cares about, especially that first kiss, it'll send out a special brand of magic energy into the cosmos, at the rate to boggle the mind. Ella might as well show up at her stepfamily's doorstep and say, I'm still alive, imprison me now. Long story short, it's better for her to avoid a relationship with Alec at all costs, at least for now. Even so, the whole train of thought barrels into realization. Alec and Knox have spent years searching for this very thing in the room. The least I can do is make sure we explore it thoroughly. Any piece of information could be critical someday. I hold up the Codex Mechanica and speak directly to it. How do we activate the fountain? I ask. The discs whir once more. Again, Knox reads the glyphs as they appear on the box's top. Find the last disc. Inside the fountain. Fully reassemble the device. Alec leans over the geyser top and peers inside. This machine is right. The disc is right inside here? I carefully set down the Codex Mechanica. Although my legs suddenly feel boneless, I'm still somehow able to stand up and peer inside the geyser top as well. Sure enough, there's a disc, resting on one of the natural small ledges on the inner channel. The realization appears in my mind. Someone set this thing here. Why? I glance over to Knox. This is more of a setup. Yeah, he says. We've been herded along for a while now. He rubs his neck in weird rhythm. Honestly, I don't know if we should take off or see it through. The red disc pulses with crimson light. I don't know either. A voice echoes from across the temple. Plop, slop, boil and chop. I'm just in time to make you stop. A shiver of awareness moves up my limbs. I know that particular kind of sing-song crazy anyway. Turning around, I find exactly what I'd expected. Reggie, I ask. Reggie? Alex snarls. Reggie, sighs Knox. For his part, as our mum visitor Skip walks towards us, Reggie looks exactly as he did in the airport. Three-piece suit, fedora, and manic gleam in his eyes, which says, Hello, I'm magically unhinged. Reggie pauses beside the fountain and waves in turn to me. Knox, Alec and Ella. Mend, bend, toil and wend. I'm here today as your best friend. Ella takes a half step backwards. What? The last time my bestie saw any Denari, she was shooting them off with a magical seed gun. Long story. All in all, my best friend is clearly not pleased that Reggie has decided to show up. Don't worry, I explain. Colonel Mallory asked Reggie to keep an eye on me. Ella raises her hand. I'm still worried. Whisk, frisk, death and risk. Whatever you do, don't touch that disc. Reggie smiles broadly. He really thinks he's helping here. You know, says Alec, when the shadow of him were urging us to this very point, I might have thought twice about grabbing that disc, but if Reggie is saying we shouldn't touch it, we definitely need to grab this thing. Alec leans over the edge of the geyser, mouth, and scoops up the disc. Reggie frowns. Sugar, halt and flow. Listen now when I say no. Alec turns to me and offers the disc. I want to go back to my life, he says. So do all of us. What do you say, Bry? Assemble that thing and find out what we have to do to protect the fountain. I'm not even saying activate the thing, just keep it away from the void. For a long moment, I stare at the disc in Alec's hand. You make a good point, Turning, I focus on Reggie. I'm sorry, bud. No matter what the Colonel says, I don't really trust you. My gaze shifts between Knox and Ella. What do you guys think? Popping the thing to the thing, says Ella. Knox gives me a chin nod. I'm with them. After flipping the latches on the sides, I open the box. Knox swipes the red disc from Alec and fists it into the device's inner workings. I snap the lid closed. Now you've done it, cries Reggie. He must be really upset, because he stopped speaking in rhymes. Turning on his heel, Reggie pointedly stomps his way out of the temple. Alec gives him a sarcastic wave. Bye, buddy. Thanks for escaping from the prison and giving us all a heart attack of the month. Good riddance, I say. A mean animal perks beside my heart. He didn't smell of lies, says my wolf. Maybe the crazy mummy man was right. Where was his opinion when we're deciding all this? My wolf sniffs. I was busy grooming. She's used this line before. Honestly, I don't know what grooming entails, especially when you're trapped in a magical state inside my soul. I'm not sure I want to know either. Some mysteries are best left alone. It's time to see what a fully reassembled codex mechanica can do. I speak right directly to the device. I'm not sure if this part of the spell is something, but it always seemed to work before. How do we protect the fountain, I ask. Knox translates. Activate the fountain. Release its bounty. Only protection is in, he winces. That glyph is unusual. He looks to me. Any ideas? I look more closely at the image on the top of the devices. The only way to protect the fountain is to use the fountain. A weight of worry settles in my bones. I was really hoping we could find a way to just hide the fountain away from the void. Using it basically asking for trouble. The shadow of it not being perfectly clear. They want to consume the power of the fountain. Activating is the equivalent of sounding off the world's largest supernatural dinner bell. Can we disguise the fountain? I ask. The reply is clear. No. I rattle off a series of rapid-fire questions. Can we kill the Shadowin? The device was no. Destroy the void without destroying magic? No. Guard the fountain in some way? No. Knox gently sets his hand on my shoulder. Ask the real questions, Bry. How are you doing this? How do we activate the fountain? The machine whirs out new answers. Knox translates once more. Bring the fountain to the new pyramids. New pyramids, asks Alec. The old ones were in South America, I explain. If the machine is talking about new pyramids, it means the ones in Egypt. The codex whirs away until the disc stops on a new message. Use the discs, translates Knox. He looks to me. Any ideas of what that means? When I travelled back in time with Scar, I saw the ceremony of the fountain. There were 3 wardens there along with someone else, a 4th person, asked Alex. The 3 wardens were wearing cloaks of the colour of their magic, red, gold and silver, but there was a 4th person who was wearing a white cloak. This guy Bram told us what is a trilorum always accompanied the wardens into the ceremony. I thought it maybe was a guard or something. An image appears in my mind. The child version of me with golden skin, ruby hair and silver wings. Don't all trilorum look that way when they're young? It might explain a lot. Perhaps one of the trilorum always gets mixed up with the fountain. The discs begin to rotate once more. Let no wardens follow. Knox translates. My breath catches. The very thought of doing this alone makes my throat tighten with worry. That can't be right. I look at the device once more. The fountain must be activated with the wardens nearby. That's what I saw when I went back in time. The discs spin again, but land on the same glyphs. Let no wardens follow, repeats Knox. The device changes the glyphs once more. That is all, reads Knox. After that, the machine turns the disc to a blank spot. It's what happened before when the machine was done giving information. My thoughts keep churning over the news. I'll take the fountain to the pyramids alone. Most likely the shadow and void will be there. Dread weighs down on my shoulders. My aunt has always told me I was doomed. Weak. Jules told me the same thing as well. I'd never be able to succeed without him. I force my stance to straighten. If this is my doom, then I'll face it with everything that I've got. Knox gently pushes his fingertip across my jawline. What are you thinking? I lift my chin. This is my task. I must do it alone. My gaze shifts to Alec. Can you transport me to the fountain to the pyramids? Ella grabs a box off my hands. Like hell you're going there alone. Agreed. Alec moves to stand by Ella's side. I don't care what some ancient box says. I'm a warden. It's my job to protect this. He gestures at the geyser. Big rock fountain thing. I'm not leaving it, and I'm not abandoning you. Knox gives me a crooked smile. Not only that makes my stomach go all woozy, but now I only notice how pale his skin has become. The faint smell that wafts from him. Going alone's not an option, says Knox. And it's not just because I'm the warden of all shifters. You're my mate. There's no way you're facing the shadow in the void alone. But you'll be in danger, I say. And the Codex Mechanica said I have to leave you behind. You know how I feel about fairy tale life template, says Knox. He gestures at the device in Ella's hands. That thing just spouted off another story. That's all. In my heart, I know we're meant to be together. Like I said, we write our own futures. My inner wolf sits up to attention. Our mate is wise. We should never leave him. I'm still not convinced this is the right move, though. So do you think it was wrong about the other things? I ask. Do you think we can hide the fountain? What do you think, Bry? I rub my temples with my fingertips. It's a good question. Thoughts and facts race through my minds. T, Bouchardou, the shadow of chasing us, the fountain Reggie, my child self. All of these facts should come together into a new story. I can only see parts, though. I think the Shadowin want me to take the fountain to Egypt and activate it. Somehow, they've convinced T to help them. Go on, urges Knox. His voice and manner are all things calm and encouraging. Reggie is against activating the fountain because if the void consumes all magic, Reggie is dead. I mean, like a dead man for real this time. I look around the room. The Shadowin have never been far from me. If I refuse to activate the fountain, they'll reappear and try to push me toward that again. My best bet is to help activate the fountain and get the magic out into the world. That's what the fountain's meant to do. Once that task is done, then there won't be any supernatural meal to be had. Not easily, anyway. I take in a long breath. The best thing to do is to activate the fountain on our terms. Right. Knox. All out grins. Our terms. But what if things go wrong? I ask. All the device said is that we need to activate the fountain. We could end up destroying all magic or getting it out into the world the wrong way. I'm not sure I see another option, says Ella. It's like you said. We're being herded into a direction. Either we take charge of the situation or it keeps taking charge of us. We share a fist bump. I look to Alec. Is that how you feel as well? If you decide to go along with this, it could cost you your life. I'm with you, says Alec. And those 3 words are spoken with such conviction, I know they're the truth. Then it's agreed, I announce. All 4 of us will go to the pyramids, along with this geyser thing. With those words, the temple changes. White mist rolls across the floor, dark shadows drip down the walls, the air takes on deathly chill. 3 Shadowin rise up from the mist-covered ground, scythe and teeth. Oh, I've seen before. The 3rd one is new and definitely different from the others. For scythe and teeth, their bodies are relatively the same proportions. There's something about the new Shadowin's arms that seem off somehow. Greetings, says the new Shadowin. I won't say this twice, so listen carefully. She has a feminine silhouette, and her voice is like a woman, many women speaking at once, in a singular tone that carries the weight of authority, like she's used to bossing the other 2 Shadowin around. I can't shake the feeling I've heard it before. This Trelawney, the new Shadowin, points to me. Something in the motion looks odd and familiar all at the same time. She must go with us to the pyramids alone. And you, now she points to Alec, your role is to transport her there. The Shadowin will rise. That is inevitable. Accept this and do as I say. All of a sudden, I remember where I saw the Shadowin. It was when I went back in time. I know you, I say. You're Quetzala, the first warden of Fey magic. Knox tilts his head. You sure? I can tell because of her hands. They're extra long with webbing, even as a shadow vin. I focus back on Quetzala, but mostly I know who you are by the way you act. You did the same thing in the past. You just showed up to a ceremony, announced to everyone you're about to destroy magic, and then, well, they were surprised. You were surprised when people didn't just bow down and do as they were told, though, weren't you? But you said she wanted to destroy our magic to protect the people from the shadow into the void, says Ella. More of the story falls into place. I round on Quetzala. That was all a lie, wasn't it? You and the other first wardens, you just pretended there was Shadowvin. And why would we do that? Asked Quetzala. The answer appears in a flash of realization. Because you want the magic for yourself. 3 Shadowvin, the 3 first wardens. Many things come in 3, offers Quetzala. The first wardens might not have been the good guys, I continue, and their motives might never have been to keep people safe. Maybe this was all just a power grab. With every word, my soul feels more certain I'm speaking the truth. I've never seen the Void do anything but say he wants to see the fountain. You're the ones who've stolen magic from me. Magic has strange ways of punishing people. It turned you into the very monsters you pretended existed, didn't it? Quetzala floats closer. I said I would only tell you once to go to the pyramids. That chance is over. She raises her arms. Scythe, teeth. Now. Moving as one, all 3 Shadowmen fly across the temple, and they zoom straight into Knox's body. This time, my mate doesn't fight the possession. He turns to me, his eyes swelling with grey mist. When he speaks, his voice sounds like a dozen men and women all at once. Time to go visit the pyramids, shall we? Inside my soul, my wolf shudders in terror. What have they done to our mate? He's possessed, I reply in my head. How do we help him? She asked, tears well in my eyes. If only I knew. But I don't. And Knox is stalking toward me with 3 evil Shadowvin possessing his soul. Hard to imagine how things could even get any worse. And that's the next part of Bryar Rose. Oh boy. So guys, what do you think? Do you think Bryar Rose is right? That the first wardens lied and they wanted the magic for themselves? So they created this Shadowvin, tried to steal all of the magic. And magic does have its way of, let's say, karma, right? So to give them the karma, it basically turned Quetzala into what she made up, and the other wardens, of course. I think she could be right. I think that's exactly what's happened. The first wardens were not protecting people. They weren't protecting the fountain. They were being greedy. They wanted it all for themselves. But karma. Because they did that, they got turned into the very evil things they pretended to create. Wowzers. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and many blessings.